Nissan should be very worried because this is the Renault Symbioz and it's gunning for the Nissan Qashqai to be the go-to family car.
To beat Nissan's top seller, the Symbioz will need to be more handsome, make better use of space, and be more affordable to buy and run than the top-selling Qashqai. And with a sub £30,000 starting price, as well as some pretty bold claims for interior practicality, it sounds well set for the job. But does it look it?
So starting with design, I'll leave it up to you to decide whether you think this is better looking than the Qashqai, but clearly it goes a very different direction. For starters, the Qashqai, with its lights on the top of the bonnet, looks a bit surprised, whereas this looks a bit more angry, or certainly a little bit more suggestive. And you even have these indentations on the bonnet, which look a bit like what you get above your eyebrows, or like someone's dropped something heavy on it. But anyway, it's clearly an aggressive, angular car, and that's true as well for the wheels. I love this design, but I prefer the design of the Esprit Alpine wheels. They look really, really good. And then if you come around to the back of the car, you'll see the tail lights here. There's a lot of similarity with other Renault models, obviously, like the Scenic, and I like the sharpness of them, and it just fits in with this more aggressive look all over the car. It's clearly a car that's targeting people who want a more design-led SUV, but handily, that doesn't come at the cost of practicality. Now, because this Symbioz is shorter in length than the Nissan Qashqai, you might be thinking that it's compromised in boot space, but if I lift the electric tailgate, you will see that there is a load of the stuff in here, and also you've got a flat floor with a tough bit of plastic down here, so that's handy if you load heavy items. But if you need more room, well, firstly, you can lift up the boot floor and expose an extra space underneath, and that's very useful. The boot floor itself is adjustable as well, so you can have it on multiple levels. And if that's not enough still, well, then if you follow me around to the back, you can actually slide this rear bench forward by 16 centimeters, like so, exposing a lot more room. In fact, you've got a load of extra space even with this floor in place, and if you take the floor out, well, then you've got loads and loads of space behind those back seats. Talking of the back seats, it is remarkably easy to climb into them because you've got this high roofline here and it's pretty pushed back as well. Plus, this door opens nice and wide, so it should be quite easy to load, for example, a baby seat in here. But if you're an adult, well, there is a lot of space. In fact, loads of foot room down there and even loads of knee room here, despite this being set how I like it. Plus, you've got a couple of USB-Cs down there to go with a pair of ends and also a 12-volt port. And I've also spotted that the foot tunnel in the floor for the middle passenger is pretty short, so it should be quite comfortable as a 5-seater, although of course it's better as a 4. And also, I've noticed that there's loads and loads of headroom despite this car having a sunroof, and that's because it uses electrochromatic technology. And that tech sets the scene for the rest of the front of the car. In fact, the amount of screeners you get in here makes it feel a little bit more high-tech than, say, the Qashqai, for example, but you've still got a fair amount of buttons as well, so it's easy to use. But let's talk about the screens first. Now, as standard in the UK, we get a digital screen in front of us, which is lovely and high definition, and I've got it set currently so it's showing a widescreen map, which is great for sat-nav. And then in the middle, we've got a Google-powered infotainment system, which means it's fast, it's also customizable, and it's really easy and simple to use. Plus, it means when you're circling through the system, you can actually find recognizable apps like Spotify, for example, or Amazon Music if that's what you use. And you can also configure things like the way the car consumes its energy and even your driver assistance features, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And overall, it's just a nice place to be, and dare I say it, a little bit more stylish than that Qashqai. Now, all models barring the base spec Iconic get a vegan leather interior, but even if you go for that base spec car, the fit and finish is generally quite nice. And actually, everything you touch, steering wheel, gear selector, and even the armrest on the door included, are all nice and soft, so it's an easy, relaxing place to be. And the fit and finish is really good. I mean, the stitching looks really nice and the seats are lovely, although because this is a sub 30k starting car, well, you're gonna find some scratchier plastics here and there, but there are some squidgy ones as well to make it feel a bit more premium. And also feeling really premium is the 9-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, which should keep you entertained up front. And if you've got storage problems, well, you're not going to have them with one of these because the door pockets are very generous indeed. Certainly right up there with that Qashqai.
Also practical is the Symbioz's decently sized glove box, its pair of front USB ports, and its comfy seats, which bodes well for the ride.
As does the fact that the Symbioz is light for an SUV of this class, although you'll have to wait until we drive it later this year to know for sure. For now, Jamil, let's test the suspension. Looks pretty good.
It's pretty big on safety too, as the Symbioz comes with 29 new generation driver aids, including front, rear and even side assist features, as well as a scenic style steering assist system. Here's me demonstrating that in a recent review. Although if you're not into that sort of stuff, there is handily a physical button to the left of the wheel that you can turn them all off with. And if you like driving, well, don't forget when searching for your next car, check out cinch.co.uk or download our app.
Talking of driving, this is what powers the car. It's a 1.6 litre petrol engine and an electric motor, actually a pair of them. So it's very fuel efficient, so much so that Renault reckons you'll get 621 miles to 1 tank of fuel. Also, they reckon you can get 80% of city driving done with just the electric motors, which means you won't use any fuel, or barely any, in town. And I kind of believe them, because when I drove the Clio Hybrid recently with the same powertrain, I was barely using fuel as well.
Yeah, I was genuinely getting over 50 miles to the gallon during my week in that Clio, and with the same 4-speed clutchless auto gearbox with 2 electric gears, I don't doubt Renault's claims that this bigger Symbioz will offer similarly impressive running costs.
So, it's looking like the Nissan Qashqai's days might be numbered with the arrival of this Renault Symbioz. Although, if you're still not sure yet and you need more inspiration, check out these small SUVs up here.